Hi, this is Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. This is a short video I wanted to make on the Torah perspective of how we're supposed to look at Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel Independence Day, Yom HaZikaron, the remembrance for the fallen soldiers, people who've fallen in war in Israel, and Yom HaShoah. Yom HaShoah being, we had last week, being Holocaust Memorial Day. Now, I want to start off by saying all these, these three things, these 3 days, and what happened, what we're thinking about on these days, right, is important, right? We're not going to say, oh, who cares? 6 million people died, and it was tragic, and and all that, and who cares about their memory or the fallen soldiers? God forbid, or etc. What is the perspective, right? What is the Torah perspective we should be thinking about? So let's keep in mind, right, there is a communal mourning day, right? That communal mourning day is called Tisha B'Av. On Tisha B'Av itself, we commemorate the tragedies that occurred to the Jewish people. We commemorate the pogroms. We commemorate the destruction of the first temple, the destruction of the second temple, right? There are many things that we commemorate on such a sad day. We also commemorate on this day the tragedy of the Holocaust. We don't minimize it, right? It's a tragedy, and millions of people were killed, against their will, just for being Jewish, etc. But to have a day, right? And here in Israel, the big thing is you hear a siren, right? The siren goes off once or twice, during the day. What do people do? You can see videos of this. People step out of their cars, right, if they're driving, and they bow their head. What does bowing your head do? Right? It's a moment of silence. Right? When I was growing up in school, you pledge allegiance to the flag, etc. And you have a moment of silence. Now, a moment of silence, some may say, well, it's a good thing. Let them think about something more than themselves. Right? Someone just mentioned to me, it's probably not a bad thing, right, to think about something beyond yourself. But we're talking about the Jewish people, right? We're talking about the state of Israel. So, therefore, do something other than standing up and bowing your head. You're going to say, well, isn't that commemorating the memory? It's not commemorating the memory. It's a non-Jewish custom. It's the Holocaust Hagoyim. It's going in the ways of the non-Jews, right? That's what you're doing. Bow my head. Now, what are you doing for the memory of the Holocaust? If you want to do something, if you want to do something for their memory, say Psalms, learn something, say over something that you learned, say something in Torah. Don't do something non-Jewish. Don't go in the ways of the non-Jews, right? That's why many ultra-Orthodox people don't care about the siren, right? The siren doesn't mean anything. And it doesn't mean anything because, again, it's a non-Jewish custom. Now, what happens? What happens if a person's outside and the siren goes off? Should a person just keep going among their business when everyone's stopped? No. But didn't you say it's going in the ways of the non-Jews? You're right, but it's a desecration of God's name. People look at all these ultra-Orthodox Jews. They don't care about other Jews. Right? They don't care about people died. They don't care about people who, fell in the war, etc. for the founding of the state. They could care less. So, therefore, if a person's in a public place, you cannot transgress the 614th commandment. Don't be stupid. Even if you don't believe in it, right? You stand there, say Psalms, right? Say over something you learned. Do something positive to perpetuate the memory and not just stick your head down. Right? That does nothing. So Yom HaZikaron, right, which is actually tonight here in Israel, recalls the memory of fallen soldiers. So again, it is an important thing. They did fight for the state, right? They died giving up their lives for the state. That's not a small thing. But you're memorializing them by going in the ways of the non-Jews, right? You're sticking your head down like adult. Right? So if the siren goes off, learn something for them. Do something. Do something within Judaism. Don't be like a non-Jew. right? And again, we don't commemorate the day. We commemorate all these tragedies that occurred on Tisha B'Av. So, on Tisha B'Av, when you're sitting on the ground, when there's nothing left to do but cry, say these penitential prayers, have them in mind as well. But you're doing something. It's the middle of prayer. Right? This is in the middle of prayer. This is nothing. Right? It's not doing anything to perpetuate their memory. Third thing is Yom Ha'atzmaut. Right? Israel Independence Day. So you're going to say, okay, I got the first 2 points. It's going in the ways of the non-Jews. You're right. This is also going in the ways of the non-Jews, having a barbecue, whatever, celebrating the fact that, the Medina, quote unquote, the state of Israel has been around, right, for a long time, since 1948. It is an unbelievable thing. It is miraculous, even though some will say that we're not supposed to do anything active to bring the Messiah. That means conquering the land and all that. Regardless, everyone agrees it's a miraculous thing, right? That the state exists. 2,000 years state never existed. And we see the miracles, of what happened, as is clear. So what's so bad? What's so bad about celebrating the land? The only problem is, one of the problems, the main problem, is if you look at the song Hatikva, Hatikva means hope, right? To give hope. We're talking about living in a land, in a free land. We are free. What does that mean, we are free? So for the secular Jew, it means we're free doing mitzvahs. We want to be like everyone else. Make Tel Aviv like Miami. Right? Make it like any other place. Is that the Israel that we want? Right? We're lacking the Messiah. Right? We are lacking living in the Torah state where everybody recognizes God. Right? The secular Zionists, their whole goal was to uproot the Torah. They don't care, Israel, Uganda, Argentina, as long as we have a place where Jews can live. But having a place where Jews can live, read Herzl's book, right? His famous book, The Jewish State, right? He didn't care, where it was going to be, as long as it was somewhere, but it had nothing to do with Judaism. Right? Just so we lucked out that we're in the land, but it has nothing to do with Judaism. The whole book of all the books of the Bible talk about going back to the land, but only going back to the land if it's about Torah mitzvahs. Torah doesn't say go back to the land, do nothing. Right? Torah makes clear at the end of Parshas Vacharemos. The Torah in the book of Leviticus, Torah makes clear. Chump don't want it, chump don't get it. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, the land will spit you out. Doing what you're supposed to do means the mitzvahs. Getting the land is contingent on doing the mitzvahs, not just getting the land because we want to live with Jews in our own homeland. Just so happens, it happens to be in Israel. Okay, very good. But he didn't care. As long as he had a Jewish state, doesn't matter where it is. So at the end of the day, you're going to say, well, there are a lot of people live there, so why do they live there? Right? If they don't believe in the state, they live there because they believe it's the best place to be spiritually. Right? But there's the problem. If that the rulers want to uproot Torah, and their whole goal is to uproot Torah, says Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, Hashem Yakum Damo, the God should avenge his blood. He writes and he thinks of the Mashiach, the epics of the Messiah. He says the people are going to transgress, break Shabbos, no mitzvah to live in the land. The whole purpose of the land is to bring Kedusha, to bring holiness, right? Not to parade in Jerusalem and have a perversion parade, right? That, to have a gay pride parade in the heart of Jerusalem, right? That's what God wants, right? That's what independence is all about. That's what this state is about. It's about Torah, it's about mitzvahs. Right? So therefore, celebrating is an oxymoron. Doesn't mean we're not happy we're in the land. Right? Don't get me wrong. We're happy that we're in the land and that we have it. That is no question. We need to be protected. There needs to be an army. Right? In times of King David, there was an army. Right? No question that's important. Right? But, when you're trying to pass laws and you're going against the fundamental aspect of the state, which is Torah, and you don't care about Torah, and your whole goal is to uproot Torah, then why is there a mitzvah to celebrate? I should make a make a barbecue tomorrow night celebrating what they're trying to do. Remember what Rabbi Hanan said. If people are going to be Machal Shabbos, they're going to destroy the land. No mitzvah to be here. So you're going to say, well, they're trying to do that. Why live here? Well, there's a lot of Jews. There are a lot of Jews who want to do the right thing that are living here. Okay, you have the government in charge, right? Whoever's in charge, etc. So it's our goal to bring the holiness, right? And to fight against all these other elements that want to take the holiness away. Remember, where the greatest amount of holiness is, you have the greatest amount of impurity as well. So in order to build the land, right, we have to be the real Zionists. And the real Zionists, ones who build the land, are the one keeping Torah mitzvahs. They're the true Zionists. Doesn't mean other people aren't Jews. We're not saying that they're not Jews. But for goodness sakes, what's Jewish about the state? I told someone recently they wanted to go to Tel Aviv. And I said, if you go to Tel Aviv, you're going to tell me it's exactly like Sydney. Right? It's like exactly like being in Sydney, Australia. There's no difference. Right? There's no Jewishness to it. Except that there are Jews there. Right? Mostly Jews there. Right? They came back. And what they say? It's just like being in Sydney. Just like being where I grew up. In Australia. Okay? Point taken. So, again, we're not, denigrating and saying these things, are not important. Right? Remembering the Holocaust, certainly important. Remembering the fallen, that fought for the land of Israel, so that Jews could live here, it's extremely important. Right? We're not saying it's not important. The only question is how you celebrate it. Right? How you commemorate it. If you commemorate it like a non-Jew, that's not commemoration. That is desecration.